Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Yes, it's been a while since I've posted anything. I have to give you a little update on what's going on. About 2 weeks ago, we had a massive heat wave spread all across Europe. We had over 100-degree Fahrenheit temperatures. It was about 40 degrees Celsius here in Germany. It was very, very hot. We have no air conditioning in our house. That is because most German houses don't have air conditioning. And it's also the reason I was so quiet for about 2 weeks because it was so hot here. And I felt rather like the Wicked Witch of the West after Dorothy poured water on her. I felt like I was melting. It was pretty bad. And I didn't know what I wanted to read on. I didn't have really any ideas as far as tarot or reading or anything like that. And then I saw the news about Mitch McConnell going back into the hospital and his wife going to China and a whole bunch of stuff going on. And I was just like thinking, wow, this is like really, really, really crazy. So I want to do two readings today, and actually the reading that I did last night, I want to show you the cards that I did. I didn't do it on camera because I really didn't feel like it. And I was showing my husband these what came up, and he was pretty, this was very this had actually explained to me a lot what was going on with him and what was happening with him. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you the cards that I got last night, and just tell you just little bits and bobs about them, about what I felt and stuff. And then I want to read on the Belgian football team, how they're going to do going forward in the World Cup. I don't usually do sports readings. I don't usually talk about sports because I'm not really a big sports fan. But I think that there's an underlying issue about all of this stuff with the football or soccer as they call it in the States. And I think that there's something that needs to be sort of overall defined by what's going on with regards to this. I think that there's more to it than just a team, um, cheating and the team and stuff like that. I want to really delve into that whole thing because I think that this sort of encapsulates everything that's going on in the world and what we are seeing in real time right now as things play out. So that's what I'm going to do today. But I'm going to first I'm going to first tell you what cards I got from Mitch McConnell and what I think is going on with that. And I don't wish one way or the other, but I'm one of these people who totally believes that if you're on life support and if you're a vegetable for like a certain period of time, for me, would want somebody to pull the plug. I would want to cross over if that was what was meant to be, and I wouldn't want some machine breathing for me. That's just me. That's just how I feel about the whole thing. And but a lot of people have different views and different feelings about it, and so I respect all that and everything, and it is up to the family to decide what happens with regards to something like this. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the cards that I got last night when I pulled. At the head, I've got the Hermit, which is about isolation. And what the guides told me last night when I pulled this card was look at the light that he's carrying, the lantern that he's carrying. And a lot of people who have NDEs or near death experiences, they actually see light. They see a light at the end of the tunnel or whatever, and they see that light and they go towards the light. And that is what kind of came to me during when I was pulling cards yesterday with regards to this. The Hermit is that isolated figure. So it's like it kind of encapsulates this idea of somebody they having to go alone to the light. And that's kind of what I was getting. So, this doesn't really answer whether or not he is among the living, if you will, but it does kind of indicate to me the state of vegetation that he is. And I think that's very, very sad, but I think that that is what the card is telling me, that he is on the brink between being in our realm of existence and going to the other side. So that's, yeah. And it's crossed by the Chariot. And the Chariot is about moving forward, about going into forward motion and going into moving ahead, moving towards whatever it is that you're supposed to move towards. And I think that that's what this is implying. And with these two cards together, you have that instance where you have that feel of moving towards the light, going away from the darkness and into the light. And I think that that's what it's kind of indicative of. And I thought that was really kind of interesting. The underlying energy is the Two of Pentacles. And I think this is more or less about the people that are left behind, about the questions and the motivations of the people that are still here and that have to contend with what's going on with him and what's happening with him. So I don't think it's necessarily a really huge thing. I think that these two are the huge thing, and then this is just what are the people who are left behind? What are they going to do with regards to his transition? In the immediate past, we have the King of Pentacles. Well, this is the big fat orange problem. This is the person that he has basically kissed the golden sneaker of for like the past 10 years or so. And this is what, what he did. This is how he kind of handled certain situations and certain things. He was kissing the golden sneaker. He was doing what he was basically told to do. And I think that that is it's kind of sad, but it's also basically what the GOP has been doing since the start of this anyway. And now they're scrambling. They're trying to figure out what they can do during all of this. Um, Overarching energy is the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords, to me, well, I mean, if you look at this, it looks like that the Knight of Swords is on the horse. He's not paying attention to where he's going, but it looks like he's about to go off a cliff. And I never noticed that before with regards to this card, but you see right here that there is a peak, like from the Lion King, where they held up Simba, that kind of thing. But this is like the peak, and it looks like he's about to go off of it. He's not paying attention to where he's going. His eyes are on the eagle that's flying overhead, but he's not paying attention to where he's going. And I think that that's kind of encapsulating everything that's going on. The GOP is looking at this and they're saying we have to keep this guy alive for as long as we can because we are in control and that's what we have to do to stay in control. So it's all about power and it's all about maintaining that power and keeping that power in their field, so to speak. And so my guides just said football analogy or soccer analogy, keeping the ball in your control. And I think that that's kind of encapsulating what's going on with the GOP right now. They're trying to keep the ball, keep everything in their control, but you've got people who are basically no longer here, or they're basically incapacitated, and they have to make it appear as though um, he's okay and everything's fine, but they are really deceiving the people because he may not be. In the immediate future, you have the Knight of Pentacles, and yeah, um, the Knights. These are about moving forward. The Royal cards are about moving forward, and the Royal cards are actually closer to the Major Arcana than the number cards, I guess you could say, as in reference to the book and what have you. But in the immediate future, you have. I think this is you know, he's got a lot of rubbish in front of him that he has to go through in order to get to the light. Is this about McConnell? Maybe his struggles going to the light could be, but I get the impression that this is not so much about him in as much as it's about the GOP and about the party wanting to make sure that they stay in control. And if they have to do a weekend at Bernie's kind of thing, then that's what they're going to do. And they've been doing that. This has been their mojo for like the last few months or probably for the last year. Internally, we have the Five of Cups. This is like disappointment, heartache, disappointment, sadness. there are two cups remaining upright, and maybe that's their attempt to try and make sure that everything, is okay. But things are collapsing. Things are falling apart, and they know it, and they have to try and do something to keep it from falling apart. But that's what's falling apart. Externally, we got the Six of Wands, and I think this card is really. I think Libby actually describes it as all of the people are in the shadows, and they're kind of like they're seeing this guy on the horse, and he's walking through and stuff. And she said that the horse does not look pleased. So it's like this deception. They're trying to continue with this deception. They're trying to, and the people are like looking at it and they're going, no, we're not buying this. We're not buying into this idea at all. We just can't. And so I think that I think this is McConnell, that he is about to fall, and the people are walking away from him. They're walking away from the people who are telling them that he's still, alive and well and everything's fine. But in actuality, he's not fine, and there's something is really going on, and nobody's telling anybody anything. Hopes and fears is the Tower card. Now, the Tower is really the collapse of everything. So when McConnell eventually does go to the light, I think that all of the stuff that they're doing is going to collapse. I think it's all, that they're trying and trying and trying, and it's like trying to hold a weight and using a little piece of tape to try and pin it in place, and it's going to fall. And if you've ever tried to hang something, I have a calendar in the kitchen that's hanging in there, and every so often I have to go through with a new piece of tape, and I have to tape it to the part of the wall, so because it starts to fall, the tape starts to get weak, and the weight of the calendar starts to collapse. And I think that that's what's happening within the party itself, that the people are starting to see this collapse happening, and they're starting to say, we we're not we're not happy with the way this is, and we don't like the way it is, but what can we do? And I think that that's what's happening. The whole thing is going to collapse. Final outcome is Three Swords. The truth is going to emerge. I think with all these people, and that's why I always thought it was so significant that I show these cards, because the truth is it will ultimately emerge with regards to this. And I don't think that anybody is going to be able to, I don't think anybody's going to be able to contend with it, because the whole thing is so crazy. And I think that a lot of people are just, they're just saying, we're tired of all of this nonsense that's happening. We're tired of the things that are happening in, in the country, and we're tired of just having to, you know, contend with all of these things that are happening, and not being able to do anything, to get anything done or what have you. So I think that I think there is something, going on with him, and I think that he is near the end, and I think that he's been so ill that he's not able to, you know, he's not able to communicate anything with anybody, because he's incapacitated. He's just not fully aware of what's going on. So I think a lot of readers are getting this. I think that they're saying, that he is knocking at the door of eternity, if you will, and that the only thing that's keeping him alive are machines. That's what I think. I don't know, because nobody's telling anybody anything, and that's the problem with the GOP, is that they don't, if somebody has health issues, nobody's telling anybody anything. And I think that's why we have all these people assuming, or trying to report something, but they can't, because there's no way to tell what's going on, because nobody's being transparent about it, and nobody's really talking about it. They're kind of just concealing everything. And I think that is the biggest problem that we have when it comes to leaders and their physical health. or their mental health for that matter. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's saying anything. And I think that's the country an injustice when people do not tell people straight up, look, this person is very ill. They may not be around much longer, and they they're just not they're not they're not of sound mind. And I mean, and then look at the guy in charge who is well, I'd rather not, but but look at the guy in charge who's sitting there and he's like not telling anybody anything except, oh, I'm in great shape and everything's fine. And then he looks like he's like one day he's looks like he's high on happy beans, and on the next day he looks like something straight out of the goblins of Labyrinth. I mean, just I mean, people, their eyes, don't believe your lying eyes. Is that what they're trying to say? Don't believe your lying eyes when you see somebody that looks like um you know they look like they've been through something. Hard down, let me get it. Okay, so that yeah. Oh, Six of Cups, just that was the card that fell. Important card. So let's shift gears just a little bit. Get some energy here. The cards are just they're falling everywhere. Oh my goodness. Okay. And it's the Six of Cups again that fell. As though somebody wants me to read that card. Um, and the Six of Cups is about nostalgia. Remember when? And I keep being drawn to the sunflowers, thinking maybe Ukraine, maybe something good's coming for Ukraine. Could be. Hopefully. They deserve it after all the stuff they've been through. Okay. So speaking of other stuff, other than someone's ultimate passing, transition. Let's shift gears. I want to read on something a little bit more positive, and that is the Belgian football team, the Belgian soccer club. Um, I saw a video this morning that just made me laugh so hard, and it was them doing that YMCA dance, and they were mocking the Big Fat Orange Problem, and I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was just the best possible way to troll. It was just so amazingly hilarious. So I'm going to read on them, see what the energy looks like for them with regards to the World Cup. And this may actually veer into the controversy that's happening. I have a funny feeling it will. My guys are saying, yeah, this is like the elephant in the room. Um, but let's just focus on the Belgian team right now and see what they're thinking, what they're doing, and then we'll see what the cards tell us, and then we can infer a little bit what's going on. So the Belgian team won 4-1. Sorry, U.S. did shoot one goal, 4-1. I was very happy when I woke up yesterday morning and I saw the result because I generally would have supported the U.S. team because I'm originally from the States, but I did not like what happened, and I did not like how the thing was handled, and so I was supporting Belgium. So let's say it straight up. I was supporting Belgium. And I think that it's good that they won because they did kind of save. They did not just win a match. They actually saved the concept of fair play and playing by the rules. Cheaters never win, winners never cheat. That was the thought that was going through my mind. And I think that's the mindset that they were in, that we're going to win fair and square, and it's not going to be even a question of whether or not we deserve it because we're going to win this match straight up. And I think that that's what the mentality was, that they were going into this. They were going to do, come hell or high water, they were going to win because they knew what was at stake, and it was more than just them winning and moving on to another match. This was about the integrity of the entire thing, and I think they realized that. So let's see what the cards have to say. Okay, the Seven of Wands. Okay, this is them holding their own. This is their, they're standing in the doorway and they're saying we have to hold our own. We have to maintain our integrity throughout all of this. And instead of going through laws and legalities and all this other crap, they're going to show it on the pitch what they're going to do, what they have. And I think that that's what this is. I think that this is them saying, listen, we're gonna, we may be angry, we may be as mad as hell, but we're not gonna take it anymore, that kind of mentality, but we're gonna show it in a really positive way. We're gonna take all that energy that we have, all that negative energy that we have, and we're gonna shoot it back at them and play and do it on the pitch. And that's what they did. It's crossed by the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant in this instance is, I think, that this not doing anything. I mean, just really not. I mean, I think the Belgian Football Association are, fighting against what's going on. I think they're pursuing this against the FIFA, and I think that this is this is just half of it. And I think that the athletes realize that this was half of it, that they needed to take the other half, and show they needed to stand their ground on the pitch. And I think that this is just this is just half of what the battle. And this was the calm and the centered idea and stuff on how to respond and stuff like that. So I think that and I'm gonna look it up here in the Hierophant just to get a little bit of a bigger sense of what's going on. And the Hierophant is tradition and faith, respect the achievements of generations past, act on your spiritual beliefs in daily life. Okay, yeah, this is them saying, okay, we're going to act on our ethics. We're going to follow our ethical standards. We're not going to fight this with hate and just bitterness and hostility, but we're going to take that anger and hostility, and we're going to focus it onto playing the best possible game that we can. And I think that that was what they were doing, and I think that's what their intentions were. So they were holding their ground, but they were also playing the best possible match that they could. And I think this was one for the ages, actually. In the immediate past, you have the Ace of Cups. This is a new cycle, new beginning. And this is whether or not I like that the eye is here, and the eye is the seeing of what's going on and seeing what's happening. And this is the beginning of people really looking into the corruption of what uh, is manifest in this organization that tries to talk about fair play and tries to talk about, people having the rights to, a good match and what have you. But it's also this corruption. As people's eyes are opening to the corruption of what's going on, and this is a new start. And I think that and while this is in the immediate past, this is like after the match between Bosnia Herzegovina and then what happened in that match. Now, I don't know if the card was valid as far as the rules are concerned. I saw a replay of it, and I thought that was kind of extreme. Maybe a yellow card probably would have been more applicable for what the guy did, in all fairness. But the referee was on the pitch. He saw what happened, or he saw what was going on, and so he made the decision. He made that call. So that's between him and his karma. So I'm not going to worry about it. But I will say this, that in the game, the last time a red card was overturned was in 1960 something or other. I think it was like a long time ago. I mean, they hadn't done something like that like in a long time ago. And the fact that a president would call the president of the organization and say, we don't like this. This isn't fair. I think this is absurd. On its face, it's on the surface, it is absurd. And I think this is opening people's eyes to how absurd and how corrupt this organization really is. The overarching energy is the Five of Wands. Of course, fighting. Everybody's, fighting every conflict. Everybody's fighting over this. They're, whining and complaining and fighting, and and the senator from Texas is going out and saying all this nonsense about, oh, it was the right call and blah blah blah. This guy's the one who ran off to Cancun when Texas was freezing. So please just spare me, okay? Just spare me. But this is the fight. This is the fight that this is all triggered and stuff, and people are fighting. People are angry, and people in the states are asking, well, if this didn't happen, then would the U.S. have won? We don't know. There's no way of knowing if the U.S. would have won. I don't know. But what happened happened, and the best possible outcome was that Belgium won. For me, from my point of view, just based on everything that's been going on, the best possible outcome was that Belgium won. In the immediate future, we have the Eight of Swords. This is self-created, self-imprisonment. And so there's a lot of explaining that's going to be needing to be done with regards to all of this. You can't I just say, we're going to overturn everything because the whining person in DC is complaining. I mean, let's face it. For every call that they have in a football match, if you've ever been to a sports bar and you've ever watched live viewing on big screen in a sports bar or at a open air viewing thing, you will always find people whining and moaning about calls that are made by the referees. You're always going to have that. It's not something that is just out of the ordinary, but it is how you respond to it. And I think that's what this card is about. This is about the response to whatever happened. Now, I don't I don't care if it was wrong or if it was right, the call that was made. It was a call, it was made. And normal people just say, okay, we're going to accept it and move on. And now people have decided that this is the horse they're going to put their bet on. Okay, more power to you. Internally, we have the Nine of Pentacles. Well, this is the idea that we think that this is like everything is fine, everything's coming up roses. I think this is more for the Belgian team. They're like, okay, we won the match, we made it, and we made our point. Now, how will this go forward? I don't know. I'm pulling for them. I hope they'll go all the way. I hope they'll win. I hope they'll win the whole kick and caboodle. That's my hope. But it is extremely hard to say whether or not this is going to happen. But right now, they're sitting pretty where they are, and they have gained the admiration of the entire planet for what they did. So this is, externally, we have the Queen of Cups. This is the nice, feminine energy, although it's not really about feminine energy, really, but it is about the calmness of taking control and of being the grown up in the room, I guess, is what it is. So I think that that's what they're doing. They're being the grown ups in the room, and they're saying, okay, we're gonna be the grown ups. We're gonna handle this in a grown up way. Hopes and fears is the King of Swords. Well, this is, for me, this is their hope that they're going to be able to move forward and they're going to win the next match, and they're going to have to let all this go, and they're going to have to focus now on what's next for them, what they're going to do next. And I think that that's what this is. This is about them saying, okay, we've won this match. Now we've got to face another team, and we got to, put just as much energy into that game as we did into the one we just played. And I think that that's what they're doing. So they're really gonna, and I think that they'll drive home the point. I mean, this will drive home the point as to whether or not they win. I mean, they've won the hearts of the people, but that doesn't really matter if they want to win the trophy. They want to win the whole 9 yards. So, let's see what they can do. And final outcome, the Emperor, King of the world. Okay. I don't think this is about the big fat orange problem at all. I think he's a minor person in all of this, but I think that this is them coming out on top. I have a feeling they're going to do really, really well in this. Even if they don't win, they have won the hearts of everybody, and people respect them, and people look up to them, and they admire them. And I think that that is really, really significant. But I hope they win. I really do. I hope they win it. Don't know what's going to happen, but that's my hope, is that they win. At the base of the deck, we have the Five of Cups. This is the disappointment of the organization. They've lost their credibility. They've lost far more than what they could gain by doing what they did. And I think that that's why it's at the base. And the Nine of Cups, the Two of Wands. It was always a decision. They were always having a decision. They they want to move forward. They want to continue, but they made a decision. And so one of these decisions leads them to the light, and one of them leads to darkness. And I think that they made the choice to go to the darkness instead of going to the light. And that's what happened. The Magician, that's the big fat orange problem, who's trying to move things the way he wants them. But the world is going to they're not going to the world isn't going to take kindly to it. So I think that this is a mixed bag here. I think that what you've got a team that that people that people respect because they made the right decision, and they decided to play the match, and they decided to do it the best way that they could, and they ended up winning. Could the American team have done something differently? Also, my guides are saying if they had if they had not played that particular player, even if the organization had said that he could play, he could play, he could play, if the team really were on the ethical side of things, as this is just my view, I don't know because I'm not there and I can't really say, but if the team was on the right ethical side of things, I think they would have just said, "We'll bench him for the game," simply as a statement that we are not going to fold to. We're going to play by the rules and not play by the big fat orange problems. That's what I think they should have done. They should have just set him on the bench and said, "Look, you got a red card in the last match. I don't care what the organization says. I don't care what they do. I think you should not play this match, even if it totally, destroys the team. At least we will be in some sort of, they may have lost 8-0 or something, but at least they would have maintained their integrity." And I think that part of their integrity was lost when they decided to go ahead and play him. My thoughts, my beliefs. Um, the guy seemed like a very ethical kind of person, when he would talk and stuff. But the thing is, this is, now whether he believed or not that he deserved a red card, I don't know. But the thing is, I think that if they wanted to save their reputations, they would not have played him. They would have said, "Okay, our integrity is far more important than than the blatherings of a guy who sounds like a ballroom brawler." But that's not what happened. I think they did play him. So, if I'm wrong, then correct me in comments. But I do not think this is all for entertainment only. I'm just some random person reading tarot cards, just practicing, trying to learn them, and so don't take anything I say with a huge grain of salt. Take it with a huge grain of salt because I'm not a sports expert. I don't know anything about sports really, except that sometimes I watch them. I watch the Olympics sometimes. I haven't watched any of the matches on the World Cup because I am very basically opposed to everything that's going on with that. So I am not a person to ask when it comes to sports. I don't know, but I'm just saying that ethically, as using their ethical things. I'm just gonna pull a couple of cards on that. What's going on with the U.S. team? Are they, have they? learned anything from this? Are they, um, are they wiser for the wear, or what's the here's a Knight of Wands. So they're just going to move forward. They're going to move forward with whatever it is that they're doing. They have some obstacles in their way, but they're going to just keep moving forward. Ten of Swords. Yeah. They have they have made their bed, now they have to lie in it. They made their decision based on what the organization said. They allowed the guy to play, and now their credibility is at its end. They have to start new. Ace of Swords is the sword of truth. It's the truth coming out and emerging. At the base, Seven of Swords, Strength, and the Fool. Okay. Not going to say much else on that. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I don't have my yes no cards. I can't ask my guides about the I don't have my yes no cards. I don't have my wands, my my pendulum and the other stuff. I don't have that. So I'm just going to wrap up here. Just say thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for being here. I'm sorry I haven't been around for like 2.5 weeks or so, but it's been so hot here that I haven't felt like going on. And every time I do, I come in here and there's no fan or anything in here, and it's like really warm in this room. So um, I just didn't do anything. So at any rate, yeah, I just thought that the cards I got on McConnell was really interesting, and I thought, oh, I needed to share them, so I pulled them out and did that. So. At any rate, I have no idea what's going to happen in the coming days or weeks or anything like that, but I can do a July reading, maybe tomorrow. Maybe see if I can do a reading on that tomorrow. I have a lot to do, a lot going on. Getting ready to go up to the north of the country for a couple of weeks, so we'll be spending some time there. Maybe take the computer and the thing camcorder, and I can do a little bit of a read on that. So while I'm there. So we'll see what happens. But that's what I got for you today. So take care. Hope you have a great day. And as always, namaste.